Hi guys, and welcome to the first ever League of Ireland weekly show. Myself and Cian Menton. Now it's Cian's birthday today, so we're actually recording this fairly early, so just to suit your agenda of celebrations, you know, Cian.
No, I appreciate that. Fair play to you.
Now, I suppose we'll get it. First, we'll start off with by saying that this will be broadcast every Monday at 6 p.m. as well, so people know. So hit your bell notification button, or subscribe if you're new and all that kind of thing. We'll get into the league restart. So we're talking about celebrations. This is a bit of a celebration because I thought this would never happen. Now, we've gone on and on and on, haven't we, Cian? This is frustrating the life out of supporters, players, and everybody really. And it's gone on. It's gone on for a long while, but it's been confirmed anyway. That's 18 games, so 13 or 14 games, depending on how many games each club has played. Not ideal for me, to be honest. I would have liked them to have stretched it to 27. I think they could have come up with a package to stretch it to 27. But at this stage, my personal attitude would be just get on with it. Look, we just want to see a bit of football back. It's likely that 400 people will be allowed in. That doesn't count, staff, etc., in the games. That would be good for some clubs. Could be a bit tricky for other clubs as well. But we're all set to kick off on the 31st of July anyway. So I suppose, what's your thoughts, Cian, generally about it?
Well, obviously, I'm looking at a kid at Christmas. Just to hear that there is a date and it is happening, it's brilliant because, I remember when lockdown started. I think lockdown started, and I think they gave a date to the 16th of June, did they? When it just went into lockdown. And I tell you, I nearly died waiting that long for a match. I couldn't believe. And now, yes, here we are in July, and we're talking about the 34th. So it's great. Now, obviously, there was a bit of messing about, and there was a few discussions, stuff like that. You're going to get that. Me, as a fan, absolutely delighted. Can't wait to get back. I'm sure the players are the same. But obviously, it'd be different now for the owners and stuff like that. Who are the ones putting the money into the clubs. But as a fan, you just can't wait to get back, and you can't wait to see our team play again.
Yeah, you're right. It was a difficult situation, I suppose. But I don't think we could have had a situation where we had no promotion, to be honest with you. What do you think of that? I think it would have been a disaster.
You need to have your promotion and relegation now. It is tough. You can understand the teams on the lower end, they're only playing half a season, and a lot of clubs gone by the last recent years, they've kind of, after the summer break, they've gone on a run and kept themselves going, and you can understand their frustration down that end of the table, because with no disrespect to the first division, the Premier Division to the first division is a big level, even media coverage, everything.
It's a big financial drop. That's probably the main,
And the gate receipts and everything, it's huge. So you can see it from an owner's point of view, like I've said. But as a fan, I think every fan is just can't wait to get back. It's not ideal. It's 13, 14 games, whatever. But at the same time, you have the FAI Cup there as well. I honestly, I can't see how we could have got better than that, with the way contract situations are and all. So I'm kind of content with it now. Well, we've no choice really, but the FAI Cup now is a big one for an awful lot of clubs. So for the likes of Waterford, Cork, Pats, Shells, they'd be all looking now to the FAI Cup, and there's going to be many disappointed people.
That's a big thing. That's a huge thing you brought up, actually, because it was talk that the FAI Cup might be scrapped, wasn't there? Yeah. And thankfully it goes ahead. And I believe the quarter-final stage will happen once the season's over, I believe. Isn't that right? I'm pretty sure.
That's what the way I'm talking, yeah.
Well, as you say, it takes up even more importance than it normally would, because obviously it's going to be an avenue into Europe, or a possible avenue. Obviously, if Dundalk were to win the league, or Rovers were in the league and won the cup, that would open up an extra place in the actual league standings. But just say, as you say, a Waterford or a Pats or a Cork, or whoever did win a cup, that's going to be huge. Obviously, winning a cup is huge. The FAI Cup is a huge competition, in my opinion. But for that European spot as well. It'd be huge for those clubs.
Yeah, and it's a gate receipt as well for the fans or for the clubs, because if you're playing, let's say Cork are playing Shells. It's a big that's a game. Like, if they were playing them in the league, they probably wouldn't get as big of a crowd. So that's another part for the clubs, and I think a lot of them will be nearly relying on a good run in the cup.
I think so.
With the season the way it is, I think the cup, apart from I personally think, apart from the top two, who will be Dundalk and Rovers, I think it's nearly the best of the rest. And I'd be every fan now, other than them two, should be looking for the win of the cup. So it's going to be a really good competition. I think there'll be a bit of spice to it this year with everything that's going on.
Yeah, and I actually think the European clubs, particularly maybe Rovers and Dundalk, who might fancy getting past the first round particularly, they might take their eye off the ball a little bit in regards to the FAI Cup.
I don't think so.
I
don't think so. You look at Dundalk, and they haven't took their eye off the ball since 2013. And you look your Rovers as well. They'll want to go out and they'll want to retain that cup. That's their cup. They've won it last year. I don't think if it was the League Cup, I think maybe people throw out a lot of the 19s and a lot of the fringe players. But now I think that's another cup that's very good, and it's a cup you like to win. We've won it a few times now, and it sets you up nicely, just because it'll just be just in around that September mark. So it's kind of a nice little run in. Then you have the FAI Cup to look forward to and all. But I think the League Cup is similar to England as well. It's very underrated, I think, and it is an avenue for clubs to get a good bit of gate receipts out of it as well. If you
definitely.
But that's a shame to see that go now. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed as well, but I feared the FAI Cup was going to go at one stage as well. So in that way, you're kind of delighted, because if that went as well, it would be
going to Aviva to watch your team play. It's a showpiece event for me. The cup means an awful lot more to me. I love the league. I'd give hand to win the league, but the cup is brilliant. I think the cup is one of the. It's obviously one of the best days out. It's the showpiece event of the year, and just to be involved in the cup final. I've been lucky enough to be. I go to the cup final every year, but I've been lucky enough to be involved with Pats, going to watch them a good few times now in the cup, which is great. But,
no, you're right. Last year's cup final, for example, between Dundalk and Shamrock Rovers, the atmosphere. Were you there? Actually, I was there. Anyway, the atmosphere, and you can take it all in. When you don't support a team, I think you can really take it all in and soak it in.
You can enjoy it.
Yeah, that's it. No, you're right. Yeah, exactly. And I enjoyed it, and the standard of football was actually very, very good that day as well. Just because it wasn't 4-3 or something, the standard was actually, I thought, was excellent, and I thought was really highlighted all the good things about our league, the quality of football, the atmosphere. Now I remember coming out of it thinking, if we could get half the people in for most other games, and that's always the thing with me, is how do you do that? But you're right, yeah, it was a fantastic occasion. And obviously the way Rovers did win that in the end was fantastic for them. But the dynamic of the league now is going to be interesting, actually, isn't it? Because I have to say, Rovers probably have to fancy their chances of win the league even more now. Because, say, if this was this time last year, Rovers would have been champions after the 18 games, which is interesting as well.
Yeah. It is now. The table doesn't lie. Rovers are up there. Dundalk are up there. And I personally think, with no disrespect to any other club, I think they'd be the two up there at the end of the season. Now, I couldn't toss a coin between the two of them. I think the two of them will definitely be up there, but it's got to be tight, and I reckon it'll go right down to the last 18th game. I think it'd be very, very tight, but the best of the rest, then, like I says, with all due respect to the likes of Bows and stuff like that who are up there, I can't see Rovers or Dundalk finishing outside the top two.
Either can I, but to play devil's advocate a little bit, the fact that it's only 18 games, there's a possibility for a Bows, a Derry, possibly St. Pat's, Waterford, you just don't know, to at least be closer. because obviously there aren't that many games. So, you know what I mean? You're not going to romp away with it. So there's a possibility that they could run them a little bit closer than people expect. And the other side of it, I would say, is that you could argue that Rovers, Dundalk, Bohs and Derry have a bit of a leg up in the rest of the clubs because they've had, what, I'd say a month training roughly on most of the other clubs. That could be a big advantage, surely, you'd like to think, would it?
Surely fitness-wise would be no, not fitness-wise. I think every single player is going to come back now and they're going to be fit, but not match fit.
Yeah.
I think the work, obviously, Bohs, Rovers, Dundalk and Derry have been training as a team. So that'll stand to them. But fitness-wise, I can't see it being much of an issue because all the players have their own plans and all the players have their own training programs that they're working on at home. So I presume that would have been the exact same for Dundalk and stuff like that because at the time they couldn't really train in big groups either. So, it's an advantage that they were back before everybody. There's no question that. But I don't think it's going to really affect results or anything because, they've only started playing games when everyone else started playing games.
That's true. That's actually true, in fairness. I would agree with you when you talk about the fitness thing, actually, I'm with you there, I have to say. I would see it more as being together as a group, tactical. A lot of clubs that maybe didn't have the training had new squads. So say a Waterford, for example, or a Pats, for example. Pats had a lot of new players. Waterford, you know what I mean? We don't even know what kind of squad they have. You know, I suppose that you could argue there are other issues, but at the same time, at the start of the season, they did have a squad. And it's trying to embed them into 13 games, gel so quickly. It's not a marathon anymore, it's a sprint. Do you know what I mean? This is the problem.
I think, like I said earlier on, I think the emphasis is going to be on the FAI Cup for a lot of teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
They want to consolidate their position in the league and focus on next season. That's my personal thing. That's what I'd be thinking if I was a manager. I'd want to make sure you're staying in the division, make sure you're competitive, make sure you're building a team and give everything for the FAI Cup. Obviously, not only one team can win it, but I honestly think for the likes of Waterford, Cork, Pats, Bohs, stuff, Derry, everyone really, they need to be going. They need to be going for the FAI Cup, man. I think that's going to be the aim for a lot of teams now. Obviously we're going it's people always assume now, we've seen it now with the Premier League and the German League. People are assuming that everyone's going to be fit. Every team is going to be on it. They're not, because they're not playing games, and they're going to you're going to pick up injuries now. These players haven't trained in probably 3 months as a team. They're going to, when they go back into training, which all the teams have, I think, or most of them anyway, have gone back. But that level of intensity is up the notch, and it's like another pre-season, and there is going to be knocks and there is going to be injuries. So no team is going to be out there with their full squads, and that's the reason why we love the league as well. There's always every week there's a surprise result, and I think there will be a surprise team who is going to be up there. It's down to a lot of luck as well, team wise. If you can keep your squad together, injury free, stuff like that, they're obviously going to come out with it a little bit better. And that boils down to facilities as well. You look, Dundalk's facility, their gym, and Rovers, Sligo, and everything have a gym, which is brilliant. Every team is working on all this stuff that hasn't been worked on, let's say 10 years ago. So the intensity levels are up, and the league, it is very physical and very intense. So there will be a lot of injuries. So there is that bit of suspense. What if we can give it a right go? And I think every team be the same. But for me, I'd be excited about the FAI Cup. I think it's 6 games. Obviously you're praying for a decent draw as well.
We must note that actually, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be no non-league teams. Isn't that was definitely mentioned? Is that 100% now?
I think it is now.
I think it is. I'll be 90% sure that there's no non-league, which is a little bit of a pity. But I suppose, what can we do? We're just happy to get the competition now as well. But Funnily enough, we're talking about the top there as well. The flip side is there might be a surprise team near the bottom of the league. Because you know yourself, there can be a good side that could be near the bottom of the league after 18 games in a normal season. Easily. Bit of injuries, bad luck. But there's no way they're going to be down there by the end of the season. But the fact that it's 18 games, who knows? There could be a team. Who knows? There could be a Bows, third bottom. We don't know. It makes it interesting as well because it's more intriguing in that sense, I suppose.
It's a strange league.
It's very odd.
It's a really strange league. If you win 2 games, you can't see yourself losing. And if you lose 2 games, you can't see yourself winning. That's it's the way it is. You're coming home after a 2-0 win or something, and you're saying, geez, right, come on, we'll give it a right go next week, another 3 points. And then if you're coming home after a 2-0 loss, you're kind of looking at the fixture saying, geez, where are we going to get the next 3 points? And that's the reality of the league, and I think that's why a lot of people love it, because football is not predictable, and this league is definitely not predictable. But I think the likes of Cork and Waterford, I think Cork now, especially with the players they're at the keeping, and maybe they could add a couple of players in. Cork were pretty poor before the start for the first 5 games. They weren't good at all. I seen them play Pats. They were kind of half solid defensively, but I as well, I pity with Waterford. Waterford, no manager.
I suppose we get into Waterford actually now, Cian, because they're on one of our list of topics to talk about. But they'd nearly be on every week, wouldn't they? But they got Michael O'Connor back, which is interesting. He's re-signed. Yeah. This is the 3rd time he only left there in June. So just looking at that, it looks as if there's some improvements going on now. It's very quiet. It's hard to know what's actually happening in the background of Waterford, because one minute you think they're in big trouble, they're going to have to play their under-19s, etc. Next second, Michael O'Connor re-signed. So that's I think that's a statement, because I don't think he'd re-sign unless he had some assurances that other players were re-signed, etc. Also, the big link with Daryl Murphy, and now I know Daryl Murphy's 37, but you talk about a guy that's played for Ireland 32 times. Bags of experience, played over in England. Bolton was his last club. The links are very strong. If they got someone in with his experience, and people might say he's past it, but he was never quick anyway. He's a big, strong guy. He's good in the air. He could be an addition there to Waterford, couldn't he?
Of course he'd be an addition, and he'd help the young lads, no doubt. Having a player like Darren Murphy. Now, I think all the assignments that they're bringing in, you look at Rovers done it with Duff and McPhail and all. They don't add quality as such. They kind of get a lot of bums on seats with their signings, and they add a little bit of a bit of excitement around the signing, with the name, the reputation and stuff like that. I honestly, I don't think he's going to score 20, 30 goals. No,
definitely.
I think he's there maybe to get the crowd back to Waterford. I think it's to draw up that business. Exactly, Rovers have done it. Rovers have done it very well with the likes of McPhail and Duff coming back. In previous seasons, when they got them back. But if you look back on them signings, they never added top quality,
No, they weren't Damien Duff, or even close to Damien Duff. You didn't see them as the difference maker on the pitch, better than what they had at that current time in their career. Yeah.
So I think it's just these marquee signings just to drum up the support again and drum up the bit of business and hopefully get a few bums on seats, because the situation Waterford are in, I think they could do it.
And then on the other side, to play devil's advocate, Michael O'Connor's a striker. Murphy's a striker. They usually play one up front. I would even say that O'Connor is a similar style striker to Murphy as well. He holds up the ball, decent in the air. You'd wonder if they were, just say for 1 minute, they were to go 2 up front, them two, do they suit? Are you kind of wrecking a bit of dynamism there as well? It's a tough one.
You don't know, they're bringing them in. You don't know whether he could be coming in as a coach, as a player coach, what Noel Hunt done before with them, stuff like that. So he could be coming in as a coach. He could even be the manager. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if he has his manager. I don't know if he has his coaching badges now. I'm not 100% sure, but like, that they haven't got a manager, and you just don't know what way it's gonna go. Obviously, he can still play, and I think he will be in the squad. Oh, I think Waterford now. But first of all, I think they just need to sort their 11 out, and I think they need to look at the fans as well, and I think they kind of need to like communicate with the fans, because there's a lot of unknown going on at the minute. Fans don't even know about the teams. They don't know who's playing for them, to be honest with you. And it's awful. It's worrying for Waterford. It's worrying for the League of Ireland fan as well to see it. Like, obviously last year, getting knocked out of Europe. Well, not getting knocked, getting not even put into it with the way the name, the club changed name and stuff like that. That obviously dented them big time. Like, you're seeing that last summer they lost all the best players really. The likes of Akinadi went, Bastian Hurdy, who for me was one of the very best players I've seen play. He was fantastic. But you're seeing all them players leave. And like it is worrying to see all the players go. Your man El Bouzedi, I know he went off to Lincoln, but like all these players are leaving them, and they're not really getting quality in.
I think the sad thing was, in fairness, I have to say to Alan Reynolds, he assembled what looked like a decent squad to start the season. Now he's left since. He said himself he hadn't communicated in about 4 months with Lee Power, which obviously isn't great. So there was a breakdown in relations there. But he probably didn't fancy having to rebuild the team again. He'd rebuild the team for 4 games, and it looked like he would have had to do it again. He's obviously moved on to Dundalk since as assistant coach. But we now have John Cotter, who was part of the coaching staff. He rejected the job as well. So it looks like we're looking at an outsider for Waterford, isn't it? And they need to appoint quickly. One of the names I thought was interesting came up was Harry Kenny. Now, we know Harry Kenny was at Pats, and it didn't quite work out for Harry. However, he was part of a good setup under Liam Buckley previously, and he did a super job at Bray Wanderers. I wonder, is he the type of manager maybe to go into a Waterford where he would maybe, it might be similar in a way to going into Bray in a sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thinks of that, in your opinion?
Yeah, Harry is a good manager. He's been around coaching, and he's been around for many years now. Like sometimes you just go to a club and things don't work out.
It happened to Stephen Kenny, I might add. It happened to Stephen Kenny at Shamrock Rovers. So you can't just, people write off managers, willy-nilly, etc. But there was one situation where it didn't work for Harry at Pats, and that could be due to a lot of reasons as well. Yourself, we don't know. But yeah.
Like Harry is he's a knowledgeable man, and he's a really nice fella. And yeah, I think under the support, he'd be an asset to anyone in the league, any team in the league. Like he would add quality. I think he's a great manager, and I feel that if he's given the chance at Waterford or wherever he goes next, he'll do a job. Like, I've no doubt about it. He's like, his level of detail and stuff like that was brilliant. I've seen some of the stuff he's done. Like, they used to, when he was with Bray, they used to train in Ballymun United. So I've often gone over and had a look. Like, and the sessions were good. Now, I don't know who was in charge of the sessions, whether it was Harry or whether it was like the coaches or whatever. The way, I don't know what the situation was, but the sessions always look good. Well, we'll have to see how it goes. But I think he's a nice fella, Harry, and I've no doubt wherever he goes, he'll add quality and he'll add stability, because that's what he's all about. He's all about building from the back, and he's all about keeping it tight and compact, which we've seen at Pats. And I think sometimes that was a little bit of a downfall. That, like, we were so used to under Liam playing attacking football and playing out from the back in this beautiful football we were playing. I think that was his downfall.
He could be a manager that suits an underdog, and at the moment Waterford might be seen as a bit of an underdog, and when it doesn't work out well at your last club, there's often a renewed hunger to do well at your next club. So it could be a shrewd appointment should they decide to get in contact and actually, go ahead with it. There's other names mentioned as well.
I've no doubt Harry would be a great asset to anyone in the league, and he will improve any team he goes into. I think just that was his downfall with Pats. I think it was just we were too worried about the defence, and yet we were still leaking goals. So I think that was the problem. But look, I think he's a fantastic manager, and I think he'll do well wherever he goes.
100%. We'll move on to Derry now. Derry City have been very busy, haven't they, in the transfer market all week. I mean, I done a segment there, a video there about Derry City. No, sorry about the League of Ireland roundup, and half of it was on Derry City, put it that way. You know what I mean? At least half of it. But Tim Nielsen left the club, which is interesting. Mutual consent. We don't really know what went on there, but interesting that he's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't know what happened.
No.
It's strange. It's strange to see him go after all this time.
After coming back from Norway, etc., you know, and training with the club.
I think a lot of Derry fans have seen the picture of him at training. And I think, like, we don't know what the situation was, but he didn't come back in the greatest shape, let's just say.
No, I think that's fair to say, yeah, in all honesty. And there was obviously look, put it this way, it was definitely a breakdown in relations. I'd be pretty certain to say. It wasn't just a case of they had no games. They didn't just get rid of his contract for no reason. So maybe he didn't follow the program, against speculation. But as you say, the picture doesn't. It's not pretty, I guess.
Now, you can look and it's a bit disappointing because I was up there Derry at pre-season. I went up to a friendly and he played as trialist, and he scored 2 goals and he done very well. Like, so there was no doubt he could score goals. Yeah. And I know a lot of Derry fans were rating him highly within the first few games, and like Declan Devine has a great eye for a player. So I think it's disappointing to see him go, but I think Declan knows exactly what he's doing up there. He's honestly, I don't think him and Kenny Shields were the best managers by a mile, and the two of them love the club. So I honestly think Declan will have a replacement ready. Obviously, we're hearing the McDonough as well is on the way out, which is another disappointing one for Derry fans, I'd say, because he's been highly rated. He can play anywhere on the right side. I think he's a highly rated player. Now, I've only seen him against us, against Pats, and he kind of didn't really influence the game at all.
Do you remember what position he was playing in?
I think he was we played up there, and I think he played right wing back.
Yeah, because I've seen him a few times as well, and I don't know what Derry fans, I mean, get down in the comments or whatever, but for me, he's better on the right wing whenever I've seen him play. He can play right wing back, as you said. He can play right back, but he looks more dangerous when he's played literally in the right wing, in my opinion. Now, Derry have Figueroa there now. They have Malin obviously re-signed on the left. He's staying till the end of the season. Very, very good player. I don't know if that's a position he prefers, playing the right wing, and he can't be guaranteed to play there, or you don't know, but I'm just speculating. It looks like Glentoran, believe it or not, in the Irish League are the team likely to get him. They've a lot of money up in Glentoran, believe it or not. Yeah. But he almost went to Pats, funnily enough, at the start of the season, and I don't know what O'Donnell's plan was, but he, as you say, he can play wing back, he can play right wing, and he would have been ideal, I think, for Pats as well. But that ship appears to have sailed now as well.
Yeah, no, you obviously have no doubt. Nearly any club you'd go to, you'd add quality, like, because there's not many right-sided players in the league who are up there. Like, you probably think of Jack Bourne, who play out there, but he's playing mainly in the centre. You'd have Ronan Finn, who can play right wing back now. He doesn't play in the centre for Rovers anymore. So, full-back wise, right wing back wise, there's not many.
No.
So I do think he would have added quality, no doubt. But I think Pat's on the right side. We have the likes of Billy King, who can play either side. We have Rory Feely, who's very good at right back, and I think he's come back from Waterford a lot more mature and a lot more confident, because he was with us. Rory was with us in the year we nearly got relegated, and like he was playing, and let's face it, before the break, he didn't really get in after the break, but before the season break, we didn't have the greatest of sides. We were very unlucky player-wise, and I think he just lost his confidence. But it seemed that when he went to Waterford, he's come back a more accomplished player. He got Player of the Year there. Waterford loved him, like, and it's great to have him back. Like, I'd have, if it was Roddy Feely or McDonough, I'd take Feely any day.
Yeah, you're probably right. Feely can also play centre back, which is a big plus if you want to go to 3 at the back. So that's versatility with Feely as well. But McDonough, yeah, it's supposed to be a loss to the league. It'd be pity to see him go to the Irish League, but as I said, Glentoran have a few bob there. One big rumour was for Derry City as well that David Parkhouse could be the guy to replace Tim Nielsen. Now, if that was to happen, that would be some coup for Derry. They could have a forward line of Mallon, Parkhouse and Figueroa, which would be up there with Rovers and Dundalk levels in those positions.
Figueroa is by far one of the most underrated, I feel, in the league.
I think people are starting to see it now, aren't they? Probably
I've seen him play. I think it was last year. He was playing with Waterford and he played against Pats. And oh my God, I think he danced around us and he scored a screamer as well. But his pace, and I was just like, who's this fella? And he was brilliant. Like, and I seen him going to Derry. I was disappointed because I would have liked to have him now in Pats because he's one of them wingers and he was just fast. And he had everything about him.
Close control as well, and he can play as a number 10 very comfortably, and sometimes up front, by the way, if you needed to play, depending on what style of game you're looking to play. But he has that versatility. He can pop up anywhere, so he's not, as you say, he's not what you'd say a right winger or a left winger or a number 10. He's anywhere across the front. I love those type of players as well. Like,
and I think Parkhouse is obviously a big addition now. Whether that was Nielsen going because they knew he was coming in, you don't know the situation. But if they got Parkhouse back, Derry would be a really, really strong side again. Like, and they're a strong side as it is without him. But just to add that bit of quality, like, there's not many strikers in the league. Like you have Hubin, you have Kelly, who I think is very good as well.
Green, I think, is a little underrated from what he gives to Rovers, but he's not what you call a natural goal scorer, though, let's say.
And you have, like, apart from that, you have the likes of Dinny Corcoran, who pops up with a lot of goals.
But has had injuries, so...
Yeah. Now, Dinny's a good player as well, but, look, there's not many strikers in the league. Coughlin, that went to Sligo, hasn't really.
It's a good player, but if we're talking about goal scorers, you're right. There seems to be a shortage of goal scorers in this league at the moment, which is a strange one. And as I say, Hubin got 13 goals last season and was still one of the top scorers in the league. But by his standards, he would say himself, I know he would, that was poor for his standards. So, and the fact that Parkhouse, not only is he a good striker coming in, he already knows the way Derry's set up and the way the club are run and the way Declan Devine set up the team. So if that was to happen, I think it would be a game changer for them, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. And he'd add the quality, and I honestly think they'd be up there. They will be, and like even now without him, they'd be up there they'd be challenging for the top 4. There's no doubt about it. But if they got him now, that's just. See, it depends. Usually, a lot of players, loan signings are a little bit. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know whether you're going to get a player who's going to throw a hoof because he's out on the loan again, or you don't know whether he's going to have a bee in his bonnet and say, well, I'm going to prove to you I want this contract.
With Parkhouse, it's been rumoured, again, not sure about this, but it's rumoured that he actually has no contract, that his contract is actually up, so he's a free agent now. I'm not sure exactly how true that is, but I've seen a few bits and pieces. If that's true, it's even better news for Derry City. If that's
true, and they can tie him down to an 18-month contract from now till the end of the season, till the end of next season, that'd be fantastic for Derry, like, and all credit to them because Derry are a hard-working club, and now all the fans up there, they do their bit for the club. So, the league needs a strong Derry City, and I hope if they get them, I hope we can hit the ground running because I think the league is all the better when Derry are up near the top of the table. And I personally, even when they're not doing too good, I hate going to Brandywell. I think everyone's the exact same. Now, in recent years, Pats, in fairness, we go up to the Brandywell, well, one of the only sides. We go up there and we play. And we have tried to play, and in fairness, we've got some really good results up there.
Back in the last season, there was a 3-1 actually.
Yeah.
For example, so that was a
Yeah,
game where
we go up there, and even games under Liam Buckley, we went up there with a seriously weakened side, and we put it up to them. We probably lost it. I remember we went up there in the cup, 2018 it would have been, I think. We went up there in the cup, it would have been 2018, and we missed a pen on the last minute to take it extra time. But we play it and we go for it. We might that was one thing Liam is, and he's the same when he's with Sligo. Wherever he is, he sets up to win, and I credit to him. He's honestly he sets up to win, and that's what I think. Sligo will be all right under Liam. I do.
Funnily enough, you're talking about Sligo. They're the bottom with no points at this minute of time, and they were one of the teams that were strongly trying to avoid a relegation scenario, let's say. But as you said, it is understandable. But at the same time, to play the other card, you feel they have enough quality to stay up anyway, as well.
I've no doubt. Well, there is doubt because they're bottom of the table. But the quality Sligo have, and I honestly, are they going to get a better manager than Liam Buckley? I don't think so. I think Liam, the way he sets up, the way he plays, is fantastic, and I honestly think that they'll be up there. They'll be okay, but they just need to be a little bit patient with Liam. At the start of the seasons, if you go back on Pat's results, even the year we won the league, I think we were second from bottom or something in the few games. Now that's not saying they're going to go on a big run, and they could well do, but I do think Liam will have Sligo. He always sets up, and he always gets an out player or two in Liam. And he
has a habit of picking up players abroad that do well.
Yeah, now Dave Campbell is the scout there now, and he was obviously with Pats. But Dave's brilliant. Everyone knows Dave, but now the work they do and the level of detail he goes in to get a player, because Liam doesn't sign a player unless they're a good person or unless they're all this. He doesn't care whether he can play well or not, and if he's in trouble, we get rid of him. Liam is fantastic, and he recruits. He recruits great players. So if there's any Sligo fans listening, I'd give it time, and I wouldn't panic, because Liam, and you have to look, he has the club at heart everywhere he goes.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, 100%, definitely right. I suppose again to Cork City now. I think you touched on it earlier on that they've actually brought back 2 of the 4 loans, which is fantastic for them, and arguably 2 of the better ones in Darling from Queen's Park Rangers, and I always get to butcher this. Oluwu, I believe, is it, from Arsenal? Butcher that name. I'm like John Giles when it comes to the names, But no, they're huge signings, aren't they, for Cork City to have brought back into the club. As you said, they struggled early on in the season, but they do have a very, very young squad. They're the type of squad that if they got a win, they might get another win. You know what I mean? But
Neil is doing hard work down there. It's tough for him. Look, he doesn't have anywhere near the facilities or the budget that Cork had in recent years, and they are no disrespect, Conor Davis is a great player, but to see him come on as our number 9 from recent years in Cork, it is the squad, there's no doubt about it, is nowhere near what they used to have, but like I said, they have some really, really good players there, the likes of Darragh O'Connor, who's their little gem that everyone loves. They have some really good players down there in Cork, and
I do think, Cian, they're doing the right thing though. Since in terms of going and trying to bring in young, hungry players. Obviously, the budget dictates that a little bit as well. But at the same time, I think it's important that they can develop players. If we've got a guy called Alec Byrne who came through the youth system there, he's rated highly. They brought in Charlie Fleming from Cove, a right back rated highly. Unfortunately, he's after doing his ACL, so it looks like he's out for the season, 13 games or whatever. But so that's a loss. So you mentioned him, Darragh Connor is a gem. Liam Bosson is a guy with a good reputation. We've just mentioned the two loanees. But I suppose with that, then they have actually Henry Ocean, who a lot of people have said have done quite well in the opening 4 games. And it's still important that they have Garrod Morrissey in midfield. So when you go through them all, it's not a bad side either, is it? But it just shows there's no really weak team in this league, though. I think that's the point.
I think Pats can go down to Cork tomorrow.
Yeah.
3-0. And Cork can come up tomorrow and win 1-0. It's one of the, that's the suspense. And like you look down to a match, like you're going down to Cork and you're saying, guys, we'll take a draw here. 10 minutes in, you're saying, right, we want 3 goals. You don't know what you're gonna get. Like, it's a strange league for that. There is no weak teams, and like honestly, there's no weak teams. Even you go up to Finn Harps, like they're not a weak side. They're a solid side. Ollie's part of the furniture up there. Like Ollie, I don't know how he does it, but he always manages like. Even
I was talking to, do you know Daniel O'Reilly, Shelburne? He was with Finn Harps the year before, and I spoke to him, and he said Ollie had this weird thing where he seemed to know exactly who was going to play for the opposition. And even one or two of them, he said, Daniel used to sit down and go, oh, surely he's not going to play. Come the game, the guy is playing. And he says he doesn't know how he does that. Like, it's unreal. Like, that's unreal. I still don't think he gets the credit he deserves, Ollie, to be honest.
I know. Like,
really don't. I mean, Finn Harps could easily be a first division, middle of the table club. Easily. Every
year they come up when they get promoted. They, like, nobody talks about them in the first division as being contenders. Nobody talks about them. First things first, you look at the league table and you're saying, but before the season starts, okay, Finn Harps will be down there. It's not always the case. Look, they're going to be down there and they are going to battle down there. But it's mad. Like, if they were to get an extra 5 wins, they could nearly be in Europe. Like, on top of, like, if you look at last year, I know they stayed up via the playoffs. But if they got an extra 5 or 6 wins, that could nearly be the other way around. They could be fighting for Europe, so they're not a million miles off. And I don't think anyone in the league is a million miles off. Like, Sligo next year could easily challenge for Europe. It's madness like that. But like, all it takes is maybe 1 or 2 signings to just make the team click. Like, even the year Pats went to win the league. Like, we signed players like who forced, like Kenny Brown, first division. Connor Kennett was with us, but he came from Drogheda, I think. And
you wouldn't have picked them out as players that were going to make the big difference.
And the same with Dundalk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Brian Garland, Monaghan United and everything, like, and to see Chris Shields, who was with Bray and then he was with Dundalk and kept them up. Mountney is the same. I think Mountney is a very underrated player as well. Speaking of Mountney, like, I think he had some serious quality, and like, he's there since 2012, I think. 2011, 2012, and like, players don't stay that long unless they're quality.
Yeah, he's probably went on the radar because Dundalk have had more flashier players like Michael Duffy and Patrick McElhenney and players like that. But another player spoke to was Ian Birmingham. I asked him who was the hardest player he came up against in the league, and he said Mountney. He says he didn't give you an inch. You know what I mean? He says he wasn't the best on the ball like a McElhenney or Duffy, but he said when he was trying to play his game going forward, he just doesn't give you an inch. He said he's on you.
I have to say, now I've studied Dundalk now during the lockdown. I've watched a lot of games, and Mountney's recovery runs are just frightening. Like, I've watched them, and like, how, I don't know how, but he makes up some serious ground, and like, I feel for any left fullback or left winger running at him because you're not getting by him, and I honestly, I rate Mountney so high.
But these are things, you're right though, these are things that people sometimes don't realise or notice. We notice the great goals by a McElhenney or Duffy or whatever, but thing is, we might as well talk about Dundalk while we're there, but it's all the elements that makes you a team, isn't it? And Mountney is as important as a Like Chris Shields, it took years for Chris Shields to be actually appreciated. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he was always going to be there, and he always was going to be appreciated. I think Chris is just simple, plain and simple, and he'll get a short story for you, and that's all you want. He's solid. He obviously went under the radar there with O'Donnell and stuff like that playing.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And Richie Towell and stuff, but he still played all the games. Still played not nearly every game, but he just went under that radar.
But who in the league does Chris Shields' job better than Chris Shields? Put it that way. You know, his positioning is excellent. His
Chris Shields,
intelligence. Greg Bulger as well. Yeah.
The two of them players for me are kind of similar. Greg kind
of on the ball.
Greg kind of offers you that little bit more going forward. Look, he does have that pass. Chris is more of a break-up player and he'll break the play. Now, he does it fantastically well. I think every team could do it with Chris Shields, but like he's really, really good, Chris. And I think Dundalk have everything they need. And I think Rovers, yeah, I know they're top of the table, but I think they could do it one or two players. But I think Dundalk are
you tipping now, before we go, are you tipping Dundalk to edge Rovers?
Well, it is a tight one, like I says. You can't.
Especially with 18 games, where we find it very hard to pick out. And it might come down to, excuse who's fresh and pure balls in the end. And obviously Dundalk have the balls at proving it. That's something Rovers still have to prove.
I think it's coming down to, I think it will come down to, obviously they have to win all the games. Like, against all the other opposition. But I think it's going to be coming down to the head-to-head games. So, like, we obviously Dundalk and what played Rovers. And I know they came out on the wrong side. But, like, I think that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to them games against each other. Because, like, I think, how many games will they play against you? One now, I think it is, isn't it?
Only one now. I was going to actually say that the Rovers Bows games can make a big difference as well, because Bows are capable and the derby. But the fact they only play each other once now, and that'll be at Tallaght Stadium, you wouldn't put as much significance on that particular result.
Yeah, in fairness to Bows, they always go for the talent and do well.
That's true. No, they do. They've been brilliant over Rovers in the last few years. They've had a better record in general. Rovers have had the upper hand the last few games, and that's probably a big psychological edge for them because, you know, yourself, Rovers, I think most people admit, would have the better players overall, but in those particular derbies, it's very hard to pick winners at times, isn't it?
I think you see as well, Keith Long, like the job he's done at Bows is just tremendous. Like to have them in Europe this year, like oh my God, it's unheard of. Like he took over after Owen.
They were in trouble,
and they were struggling. Like and they were. You know, they
were nearly relegated. They were very close to getting relegated. Extremely close to getting relegated.
For 2 games to go or something, I think, Owen did, wasn't it? I think they played Shells and they had to win. I think they won it well. Yeah. Didn't he played? But you know, it was tough job he took over there. Like they're nowhere near the finished article. I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think they ever will be for a while because every year, apart from this year, which is the first year, they've kind of held the bulk of their squad. And they've brought players back, so the likes of Casey and Lunny, bringing them back into the side was fantastic after losing them to a Waterford and Cork. Like, but to have, I think, Bows now, it's about time that they're classed as, like, they've obviously always been a big club and they've always been a really like successful club, but I think it's time now the fans need to start classing them as a top team in the league because
they're not an underdog now. They're not getting away with that tag. Put it that way.
I think they've earned the right now to be called a top club and a top team. Like you shouldn't be going to Dalymount expecting much. In my eyes, in any team now, I think like the way he even sets them up, even away from home, and they're simple, they're solid, and like defensively they're solid, and with attacking they express themselves, and it's just to see the amount of young players coming back from England, like, and people always say like, you know, Bows are going to struggle this year, Bows are going to struggle, and every year, like, and it's an absolute credit, and it is great to see how well they're doing. Like, let's bear in mind they are part time. Now, I think it's a bit disrespectful to call the players part time because they're not really. They train, I think, 3 or 4 days a week, and then they have a game. So, like, they're classed as a part time club, but the work the staff put in and the work the players put in, they're not part time. They're full time. And I think it'd be disrespectful to say any less about the players, like, because the work they put in and the attitude they have. Like, I think, I honestly, I can't. Dundalk maybe, but personally, in my eyes, I think Bowes, and they've had done for a number of years, have the best dressing room. I think, look, the atmosphere, like, you look at the players love playing for Bowes, and like, that wasn't always the case, especially when the times were tough, like. But it's just the togetherness and the fans. Now, like, you're seeing it, they're selling out the Jody at home to UCD, like, and it's
Great to see.
fantastic.
Every other club could do similar. It'd be fantastic,
What Bowes have done over the last couple of years, and I know we've gone a bit off topic, but what they've done over the last couple of years have just been amazing. Like, and the work they do, and the marketing they do, and the PR. Like, let's remember, all these are basically volunteers, and so what they've done for the club, and I think, like, honestly, within a couple of years, Bowes is going to be a real big force again, which, like I said, is great because, like, as a League of Ireland fan, I want 4 or 5 teams going for the league every year.
Oh yeah, if you could get that, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, look, that's what I want. I want the Derrys, I want the Bowes, I want the Corks, I want the Sligos to be.
And your own team, obviously.
Of course, Patsy. I try and not be.
I know, but yeah.
But of course, like, you want every team to keep the best players, and you want, like, it is hard. Like, it's tough on Bowes, like, because especially Bowes and the likes of Sligos and stuff like that, because, like,
funny because the better players you have, the more likely they're going to go, and it's that fine line, isn't it?
Like, the players are going, like, if I was a football player and I was playing the dog game, I'd probably go. Did you miss that? Did you get that yet?
Oh yeah.
I'd probably go, and I think that's the reality of it. And, like, it's a short career, and in League of Ireland, you don't make an awful lot of money. So I think anywhere you can get the money off, you go, and that's for the players, and the fans are always going to be there. But I think the players need to look after themselves as well, and especially in these times, I think a few players have, and that's rightly so. I don't think anybody can knock the players. And I don't think,
to be fair, 95% of players have.
Yeah, and I'm seeing, like, a lot of Waterford fans kind of sympathising with Alan for leaving as well. But a few, obviously, you get the old negative comment left. But I honestly think, like, people need to respect that. He has to look after himself. He's a family to care for. He's probably a house to pay, bills to pay, like everybody. And I think, in this game, you need to look after yourself, whether you love the club or not. Like, obviously, Alan Reynolds would go down as a Waterford legend either way for what he done with the club. But, like, you need to look after yourself. And I think fans, sometimes us as fans, get engrossed in the club, and, like, we hate seeing people go. Like, we hate seeing our best players. We hate losing our best players, let's say, to Rovers or something. But players need to look after themselves. And, like, I think the most common one was Pats when Keith Fatty went. I think that broke a lot of Pats fans' hearts. Obviously, I was so disappointed about it myself. Like, I'm not going to say I was happy, but I understood it.
Yeah, of course you're going to be disappointed to miss players of that, but in the back of your head, it's coming. And then it happens, and it's just, it's one of those things. Not much you can do, like, but it's obviously disappointing for anyone when we see a great player leave the League of Ireland. Never mind your own club as well, but you can't blame anybody. It's ridiculous.
No. Yeah. And the likes of Macmillan now, who's hopefully going to come back.
Yeah.
I think, like, apart from Dundalk, I think maybe Rovers, because they've only got Gaffney in. So apart from Dundalk and Rovers, I think there's a striker for anyone to get.
Yeah.
If Parkhouse went to Derry and Macmillan came back as well to the league, like, then we have 3 or 4 really good strikers in the league, and that's what we need. We need goal scorers.
right though. Out of any position, you need goal scorers. That's what brings people in as well.
Like,
Generally,
like I was only looking back. Like we had the likes of Mark Quigley, we'd Danny North, we'd we'd Mark Quigley, Daniel Christy Fagan, we'd Bisto Flood, we had then going back Glenn Crowe, Jason Bourne, and like all these players, Gary Twiggs, like you
go back even further, Stephen Gagan.
These are the players that
Pat Morley
that bring people in, and like to have Parkhouse hopefully coming back to Derry, which would be a great one for the league. Macmillan coming back, hopefully.
Who've been looking like, well, before the start, he's got 5 goals, 5 games, so you got him as well there. Obviously, there could be 1 or 2 others as well.
You have Gaffney at Rovers, whether he hits the ground running, nobody knows. You obviously have Arden Green, but Rovers will score goals either way.
Yeah, all over the side.
I think they can play without a striker and still win. I think that they are like that. I wouldn't say they're complete. I'd say they could possibly do it. Two players maybe that it just make them tick that little bit better. But Rovers of course are a serious side, and like I think any team in the country would take the players no problem.
Oh, they'd all walk in. Here, Cian, we leave it there, I think, for this week. We'll let you get on with your birthday celebration. So thanks very much for coming on. And guys, this will be out Monday, 6 p.m. So every Monday we're going to have this show out. And we got through an awful lot there. It's fairly in-depth, which is what people want to see. What I'd like to see anyway from a show. So fantastic stuff. And we'll see you later. Good luck. Thanks, Cian.
Thank you.